We're glad to be here and hope that that we can, recover from 4 years of not being in person. And it's good to see actual live faces again, and very much appreciated. What I'm doing now is giving you a welcome, and we were going to simulcast this on YouTube, and my computer broke. So we can't do that. So anyone at home who wants to watch this is going to wonder what the heck's going on. So we can't do much about that, but we're recording it on this camera and we'll upload it on Monday or so. And we'll send a blast out to people telling them, hey, sorry it didn't work, but here it is, kind of thing. So we've gotten together. We have our officers here. You want to stand up, officers? I take that as a no.
Standing up is hard.
Okay, what if everyone else stands up and the officers sit? No, that one. Okay, well, in any case, they'll be introducing themselves as we go on. So the meeting, I call the meeting to order at, what time is it? At 7:37. So we're only 7 minutes late. I think that's quite acceptable. And we want to start off with Val doing the land acknowledgement.
The California Senior Caucus wishes to honor the homeland of the First Nations people of California. The CDP Senior Caucus acknowledges that the land where we live, work, and enjoy is the unceded territory of the first national tribal people since time began. The CDP Senior Caucus wants to offer recognition and respect to counter the doctrine of discovery with the true story of the original tribal people who are here, and to support the reconciliation of a government-to-government relationship of these sovereign nations. We are surrounded by their ancestral traditional territory, and we must strive to understand the spiritual knowledge that First Nations people carry. Their strong cultural values have enabled First Nations resiliency to survive. This was written for us by Redwood Flower from the Sherwood Band, Rancheria Band in Pomo. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Val. Maybe I'll do this. The next step is the quorum check. Mr. Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Mr. Chair, yes, we do. And I just want to mention real fast that my colleagues, myself and Howard Ingram, the Secretary, are going to get paid Monday, all federal workers, thanks to the Democratic Party. The Republicans, when they're in charge, cannot do a damn thing. So we should all be proud that we're Democrats today.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Howard. Next up is the approval of the agenda. Now, since my computer doesn't work, we can't put it on the monitor. It's a miracle, it just came up. It took offense that I blamed it for not working. Okay, so why don't we move ahead and come back to where we have stuff that we have to project. So I guess we can't approve the agenda unless you see it. I was going to tell you what it was and have you picture it in your mind, but we don't have to do that. So up next, for things that that don't require a projection, is the officer reports. The first officer report is mine, and I more or less gave it when we started. I can tell you though that the Senior Caucus we have plans for meetings next year. Remember, next year there's no convention. But there are 3 e-board meetings, and we will have in-person meetings at all 3 of them if we can afford it. Yeah. And of course they'll be smaller than this group even, because there's 1/10 the amount of people at an e-board meeting than there are here. But we'll plan them, and our plan, as always, is to provide the best speakers we can get, and make it interesting, and hopefully make it a little bit fun. So that's basically my report. And next up, Vice Chair North.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm Val Nahowski, Northern Vice Chair. I cover the North Coast and all the way over to Chico,
It's basically whatever he
Redding,
wants.
and down
But
to
here's someone.
Sacramento, over to the Bay Area. So it's quite a huge area. We got a real shock in that Assembly District 2, Jim Wood, decided he was not going to run for his last term and opened up that seat, AD2, which includes Del Norte, Humboldt, Mendocino, Trinity, and Sonoma counties. And of course, there's been a huge scramble for that seat. And some of the people that are looking at it are Ariel Kelly, who is the mayor of Healdsburg, Ted Williams, who's a Mendocino supervisor, Chris Rogers, who is a Santa Rosa city council person, but the big shock came, Rusty Hicks. Does that name sound familiar? Yeah, Rusty Hicks has moved to Humboldt County and decided to run for that seat. It's caused quite a bit of controversy with people being concerned that he's not going to be paying attention to what's going on in the Democratic Party. So we'll see how that all runs out. It'll all be decided, or at least the top two will be decided in March. I'd like to pass this to our...
Okay, I have a comment though.
Yes.
I thought when you said Rusty Hicks is going to be running, I thought you meant he was going to be running from the law. So is that what he's running? Sorry, folks.
He's going to be running
I have a warped sense of humor. Get used to it.
For the second assembly seat. Next is our Central Vice Chair, Janine Ron. Where are you?
I'm over here.
Step up to the microphone.
Yikes.
Janine is a
This one's
new
good.
addition
Oh, okay.
and really incredible.
Although it's not aimed at you.
I'm Janine Roan. I'm in LACDP, and I'm a new vice chair actually this year. So what I was going to do, and I don't actually think that this is, what I might do is just send it out in the next email blast, but at our last LACDP meeting, we have a great legislative committee, and they basically went through everything that we've passed at LACDP and a great record of what got passed then by the state and what happened when it got to Governor Newsom. So I was going to read that off, but I'm on my phone. But and yeah, we've got various races. Everybody's got races in their area. We've got specifically our city council. There was a lot of shakeup last year this time, and with a couple of seats opening up. So there's for the city council. So it's very busy there, trying to get a lot of newcomers and to replace some of the people that have left. So anyway, nice to meet everyone in person.
Okay. Next up is the treasurer. So a treasurer report, please.
Hi, my name is Carol Taylor, and I'm the treasurer. Our previous balance was about $7,519.09, but I haven't gotten the cost of this particular meeting, and this is me talking in my personal capacity. This meeting cost close to $3,000. Look around this room. How much money would each of us have if we divided that $3,000 among us? Now, that's expensive, but we really wanted to have a celebration of the fact that this is the first meeting we've had in 3 years. So, and when we first filled out the checklist for the things that we wanted for our meeting, it was $11,000.
Wow.
And that was if we wanted to have it on Zoom. So what I'm saying here now is let's, in the weeks to come, let's think about what we really want to do when we get together. You'll notice a lot of caucuses are no longer meeting here, they're meeting at restaurants or coffee houses, and I think that would be a really good practice. I love seeing everybody's faces, and I do want to meet physically. I just don't want to. I mean, I buried my husband for less than this. So there is a sign-in sheet over there by the water fountain if you'd like to share your name and contact information, have it right there. So thank you, everybody. I'm so glad to see you here this morning. Thank you.
Okay. My name's Howard Egerman. I'm your secretary, and I'm also a member of AFGE, which represents Social Security employees. Just want to mention a couple of quick things. One is, as a result of the pandemic, Social Security is now considered the worst place to work in the entire federal government. We don't have a commissioner. The positive thing is that Joe Biden nominated Martin O'Malley, the former governor of Maryland, to be the commissioner. And he's promised to have a more worker-friendly Social Security administration. The main thing for concern for all of us is if the Trumpster gets in again, he's probably going to sell Social Security. So I think the important thing for all of us to realize is the Democratic Party is the party that gave you Social Security, gave you Medicare, and also Obamacare. So I think we all need to sell our colleagues on the fact that we are the party for seniors. So I'm really proud to work with our great chair Mike and everyone else here. But it's important to remember, we are the party for seniors. So I think let's get to Angelica.
Okay, go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Angelica Moyes, and I'm from Assembly District 52. I'm currently serving as the communications officer as well as the legislation committee chair. I just have a quick report on, we did submit to the party to take a position on HJR 4. That's Pilar Chavo, Assemblymember Pilar Chavo's from Assembly District 40. That actually did not get picked up by the party, but it did get pushed elsewhere, but it did eventually pass. So hopefully we'll get better support by the party in the future on other legislation that we submit.
Okay. Next up is we need to ratify our bylaws, and I'll tell you about it first. What happened was in the beginning of the year, CADEM decided that all of the caucuses would have the same set of bylaws.
935-1344.
Oh, she's calling back here on my phone. There. Could you call her? Okay, that is, we have a call in to turn on the monitor, and I see that they're doing something.
Looking forward.
Okay, anyway, all the caucuses had to have identical bylaws. And none of the caucuses liked what they told us we had to say, but that's incidental to what we need to do today. What they did is they sent us a PDF document of what our bylaws would be, and we were to copy and paste it into a Word document and put in, make a few little changes, that were specific to this caucus. And we did that, except that when you cut and paste from PDF into Word, it changes the formatting, something awful, and they wouldn't accept it if the formatting was any different from the original. So that took us several weeks to fix. We sent it in, fixed, and 10 weeks later, they said, hey, what is it they said? Oh, there's some, you didn't do your changes right. You were supposed to do them in amendment style. They never told us that. And then my thought was, what is amendment style? Well, amendment style is where you don't change the original, but you line out what is to be removed, and then you underline the new stuff. So I sent that into them, and we're still waiting to hear from them. So it's a pain in the neck. In fact, it's much lower than that is where the pain is. What I want to do in this meeting is show you the changes, but there seems to be a problem with the monitor, so we may have to skip that, but we will come back once we have the opportunity. So really the next thing on the agenda, RL, is we're honored to have R.L. Miller here. I knew her way back when she was chair of the Environmental Caucus, and was a great chair of the Environmental Caucus. And she is going to give us a DNC report, followed by a report on the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So take it away, and if you see me running around, it's to try to get this stuff to work. Okay.
Okay, is this mic on? Can you? Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Hello, folks. My name is R.L. Miller. I am from Ventura County, where we grow some of the best strawberries in the known universe. I need to say that for the benefit of anybody here from Watsonville. And as Mike said, I was elected chair of the Environmental Caucus in 2013. I did my best to turn the caucus into more of an activist caucus. If you've seen the No Fossil Fuel Money pledge, that got kicked off in the caucus. And I'm pleased to say that the No Fossil Fuel Money pledge has been signed by well over 4,000 politicians across the United States, including Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. In other words, it's mainstream. And you should be asking your local candidates to sign it, by the way. You can find more information at nofossilfuelmoney.org. I retired from I stepped down as chair of the caucus so that I could concentrate on being a DNC member. And a little bit of what I'm going to talk to you about is the DNC report, but it's mostly about Joe Biden's signature achievement and why he may be remembered as the most transformational president since FDR. Yes, I said that. And at the DNC, nobody fully understands exactly what the DNC is, except that it's a party that discusses bylaws and rules, just like this California Democratic Party does. There's not a lot of room for grassroots activism in it, although I try to remain active and grassrootsy as best I can. I am running for re-election, so please consider voting for me if you're an e-board member.
Slow down.
Yeah. The main vote that I took, and one that I'm happy to have taken, was to reorder the presidential primary. Iowa and New Hampshire are not going to be first. And this is something that I stand by because I want a presidential process that looks more like America. And there was a lot of criticism over the way Iowa handled things in particular, and in general over Iowa and New Hampshire not really looking like America. So Iowa is going to do a weird thing where it's going to be like a mail-in ballot this time. So they can start voting early in January, but their votes will be mailed in and not opened until March. And so this technically makes this is a way of splitting hairs so that they're both voting early, but also they're not going to be first in the nation. New Hampshire is going rogue. New Hampshire is holding a primary on January 23 without Joe Biden's name on it. Yeah, New Hampshire will not be awarded any delegates, will not be allowed to have any delegates at the convention. There will be an effort to write in Joe Biden's name, but the Democrats asked the Republican governor of New Hampshire and the Republican legislature to please cooperate with us in reordering the presidential primary, and New Hampshire said no. We also tried to put Georgia as one of the early voting states. That didn't go very well either. Again, the Republican legislature didn't really feel like cooperating with us. Michigan is going to be an early state though, and I'm excited for Michigan because Michigan honestly does look more like America. And that's the main thing, one of the two main things that I did at the DNC this last go round. The second thing I did is what I'm going to talk to you guys about, which is begging anybody and everybody to pay attention to the Inflation Reduction Act. I've written out a series of talking points and given it over to Jamie Harrison, who has been our chair. He will no longer be our chair. He's not going to run for re-election. There will be a new chair announced in at the convention, I guess. Technically, it's not going to be announced. Technically, we're all going to vote on it. But the DNC is so non-transparent that there's only one name on the ballot, no opportunity to write in anybody else. So, what is the Inflation Reduction Act? Most people know that it is Joe Biden's signature piece of legislation. And most people know that it is the largest climate bill since ever. And people say that, and everybody claps, and we move on, and that's the end, and nobody knows what's actually in it. And one thing I want to make clear, I obviously identify as a climate hawk, and I worked on the Inflation Reduction Act from the advocacy side for a year. I don't know anything about the other parts of the bill. So you guys probably have a lot of legitimate questions to ask about the details of the $35 copay and capping certain prescription drug expenses for seniors at $2,000 a year, and I'm sorry, it's not in my lane. There are plenty of fact sheets out there. I'm sorry, I can't help you on that. What I can talk to you about though is why it's not just in the largest climate bill since ever, but why it also represents a jobs bill and a new policy for the United States. So, quick show of hands here. Who followed the negotiations on that bill that took a year with Joe Manchin? I'm not going to do anything about it, and we're going to shelve this bill. And it started off as Build Back Better, and it was going to be $6 trillion, and then it got whittled down to $1 trillion, and finally it ended up as only $369 billion. Who here followed all that? Yeah, that's a good show of hands. Usually when I talk to Dems, it's maybe half or a third, but we're the super activist Dems. Who here feels pretty confident that they know what's in it? And again, that is absolutely typical. Washington Post has done a poll that 1/3 of Democrats feel comfortable saying they know anything at all about what's in it. And I'm here to fix that. And to be clear, if everything goes right, if we re-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to finish the job, he may be remembered as the most transformational president since FDR. And that sounds like a pretty big claim. But here's...
You guys are the ones that brought it. Sorry.
No worries. Here's what's in the bill. It's not just climate investment, it's a new industrial policy for the United States. And when I say this bill, I am also going to mention vaguely two other bills. One of them is called Chips and Science, that I keep on wanting to call Chips and Salsa. And it's got something to do with semiconductors, new factories and new tax incentives for building semiconductors in the United States. Again, I don't know too much about it. You say semiconductors, my eyes glaze over. The third bill, and I call that one sometimes CHIP or CHIPS. Third bill is called BIF, and it is technically the it is the Infrastructure and Investment Jobs in America bill, IIJA, but most of us know it as, started off as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Framework, and this was the bill that was passed in August of 2021 that is nuts and bolts, money in pockets of contractors to build roads and bridges across the United States. And I call that one BIF. You remember Trump always had Infrastructure Week, and then Joe Biden came along and got infrastructure done in the first year of his presidency? Yeah, Biden's accomplishments, thank you. But the biggie is the Inflation Reduction Act, or IRA, sometimes I call it. I'm on a first name basis with all of these, and I hope you will be too by the end of this. So, industrial policy is very generally, it's the idea that a nation favors a certain sector of its industry. Think Japan and cars in the 1980s. And so you give tax breaks and tax subsidies to that industry to keep it developing and flourishing in your country. You negotiate most favored nation deals with other countries to sell your favored industry abroad. You impose tariffs so that it's impossible for other countries to compete with you, with your country, in your country, et cetera, et cetera. The United States has not had much of an industrial policy, except for the last 40 years. We have had an informal, unwritten industrial policy that goes like this. Let's come up with an idea, let's say a better way of processing data. Let's turn that idea into stuff, a phone, a smart vacuum, a better car, and let's export all the jobs to make that stuff to China and have everything that all the idea that we invented be manufactured overseas, sell it and have it shipped all across the Pacific Ocean to come back here to the United States, and then walk around Main Street, Ohio, and wonder what the hell happened to this country. And that has been our industrial policy for the last 40 years. And that is going to change. Because the first thing about the Inflation Reduction Act is that it's green jobs in red states. So if you're taking notes, your notes, number 1 should be new industrial policy. Number 2, green jobs in red states. And by green jobs, I'm obviously talking about the kinds of jobs that will be needed in the future, and now, the jobs that make our, the jobs that are going to make our electric vehicles, the jobs that are going to make our solar panels, which right now almost all of our solar panels are made in China. We're trying to bring that back. The jobs of wind turbines and et cetera, et cetera. Lots of different parts go into those jobs. And as an example, Panasonic is going to be building the largest factory of any kind in Kansas. And it's not just the largest, and their parts are going to be used in some fashion in Teslas, in the batteries that power Teslas. The jobs being created are the most jobs, the largest factory of any kind in Kansas. Not the largest battery factory, not even the largest car factory, but the largest factory of any kind in Kansas. And to give you an idea of how little the Democrats know about this, last February, I was sitting at a DNC meeting telling people about this, and the chair of the Kansas Democratic Party didn't know anything about it. So this is why I'm talking to as many people as will have me, because I am evangelical about the Inflation Reduction Act, and I think the Democrats need to be campaigning on it. And all they do is they say it's the largest climate bill since ever, and they move on. But it's so much more. Like I say, green jobs in red states, and these are good paying jobs. You can't get factories, you can't get the tax breaks for the factories unless they're going to be living wage jobs. They should have been union jobs, but you blame Joe Manchin for that. And so these jobs are going up in Georgia, in Kentucky, in Tennessee, and in Arizona, and yes, in Wisconsin. And yes, these are going to be the jobs that I hope also are going to, not only can you raise a middle-class family on one job, but also I'm hoping that it's going to cool the political temperature a little bit in the United States, because if you're working in a Joe Biden factory making a Tesla battery part, I'm hoping that you're not going to be quite so into climate denial and Donald Trump and blah, blah, blah. We can hope. So if all goes well, if the Republicans, they're always trying to claw back pieces of this in all their budget negotiations, but if all goes well, Joe Biden may be remembered as the president who brought manufacturing jobs back to America. And it's going to take a few years. Those jobs didn't get shipped to China overnight. It was for a 40-year process. It's going to take a few more years, and that's why we need to re-elect him to finish the job. I still have time, right? Because I need to talk to you guys about two.
You have more time than you probably want. Although I have a little announcement, and that is, you know how it was mentioned that this meeting was costing us, I think it was $3,200. I think it's going to cost less now.
Okay.
Because of the monitor. And one other thing I wanted to say is the 3 senatorial candidates are going to have requested that they pop in and just say hi. And they may or may not, but
I will.
what?
I'm candidate for US Senate.
Oh,
He's present.
okay. All right, well, so you're not popping, you're hanging out, I guess. Okay.
I'm real.
Okay, yeah. In fact, I got a note that Adam Schiff would be here at 8:20. And this is probably
It might be a little bit later, but somewhere around that.
Yeah, okay. And the other 2 have said, yeah, they'll probably do it. So that's where we sit at the moment, and thank you.
I will be pleased to take a back seat to Adam Schiff, Katie Porter, and Jerry. Yeah, so as soon as I see their faces, I will shut up and let them say hi first. They're more important than I am. Okay, so like I say, first thing about the Inflation Reduction Act, industrial policy. Second thing, green jobs, and a lot of green jobs in red states. How do you know this when you're talking to your friends? I'm going to give you a website address. It's invest.gov. And invest.gov is a White House website. If you scroll down on it, you will see you'll see a map of the United States and a tab that says private investment and then public investment. Ignore the private investment, the public investment. I see somebody's already looking on their phone. The blue dots on the public investment represent jobs through the BIF, and the green jobs represent jobs through the IRA, and they are all through the United States. There's a lot of different dots and a lot of different jobs. So if you're talking to your neighbor who wants to know what has Joe Biden done in Nevada County, in Riverside County, in Del Norte County, pull out your phone. So I'm hopeful that I'm trying to give you guys the tools that you can talk to your neighbors and friends on what Joe Biden has done. Again, invest.gov. Change of topics here. Who here is involved or on the board of a local library, a nonprofit, a church, synagogue or mosque, a city council, a county, a 501c3? Yeah, okay. This is what I like to see because we are Democrats and all of these organizations that I've just listed run on Democratic volunteer power. True. I'm going to give you the 2 words that all the nonprofit people love to hear. No signal.
Don't go too far.
No signal is not the words. The magic words that you want to hear are free money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do I have your attention? This is not a competitive grant. This is money to reimburse you for any kind of clean energy improvement that you want to make. If you want to put solar panels on your synagogue or your mosque, then the federal government will reimburse you. If you want to build a garden on your school district for children to learn how to grow their own food, the federal government will reimburse you. If you want your library to become a shelter and it needs to upgrade its electrical panel, then you can have free money to do that. I hope I have your attention. This is something called direct pay, and the Treasury Department is still rolling out regulations on this, and the reason it's taking so long to roll out the regulations is that one of the contingencies for for you getting reimbursed by the federal government is that you must pay your people a living wage.
Okay, well, you-
Imagine that. This is not a competitive grant where 300 people, 300 nonprofits are applying and only 10 will be selected. This is intended to be a direct reimbursement. If you look at, you'll need to Google Congressional Progressive Center, or no, Congressional Progressive Caucus, and look for the words direct pay. This program was championed by a woman who was Bernie Sanders' energy and environment staffer. She's now over at the Congressional Progressive Caucus Center, and she wants people to be creative. She's in charge of it, and she wants people to come up with new ways to get reimbursed by the federal government. Okay? Yes?
If we prioritize work from home and remote opportunities, is that a green issue or nobody wants to hear it?
I don't know the answer to that. And I'm now going to get to the part of my talk where everybody is going to ask me questions about their personal situation, and I don't know the answer, and I guarantee you that somebody's going to stump me. But I will do my best. Mike, do you have, or can you give me your contact info?
Sure.
I will see what I can find out and try, and if you can be a little more specific, and I will try to get an answer for you,
I
okay?
think we should do away with large, offices and give people opportunities to work from home. We won't have cars on the road. And it's a green issue in my mind, but I want to know if it qualifies for the direct pay
The
opportunity.
direct pay is going to go to certain entities. As I say, it's a pretty large list of entities, but it's 501c3 nonprofits, small community organizations, small government organizations, like I say, the city council and the county committee level, and churches, synagogues, and mosques. There may be other entities involved, but if you are on the board of a nonprofit that is pushing for more work from home, that might be a way to get some reimbursement done. And again, you will need to shell out the money up front, but you will get reimbursed. So the last part of my talk, that again, everybody has questions based on their own personal situation, and somebody always stumps me, has to do with the stuff that everybody sort of knows is in the Inflation Reduction Act. The money for you as an individual consumer to get tax reimbursements, rebates, and credits for upgrades that you make to your home and your life and your car. The most famous one is the $7,500 tax credit for an electric vehicle. And again, here's a website for you. It's cleanenergy.gov. And if you scroll down and look at the little cartoon picture of a house with a garage attached and an electrical panel attached and a water heater attached and solar panels attached, you can mouse over all of those and find out what kind of tax credits are available. I'm going to touch on some of them briefly. There's a tax credit up to 30% for solar panels on your home. There's a tax credit of up to $7,500 for electric vehicles. A lot of these, by the way, have a very important strings and conditions attached. And this is something I actually think Joe Manchin did a good job on. If you are earning more than $250,000 a year, no tax credit for you. Yeah, this is only going to go to ordinary people like us, middle class people, lower middle class people.
About time.
Yeah, I have to say that Joe Manchin did a good thing by trying to get rid of tax credits for tax breaks for millionaires. And the cars stuff, by the way, is fluctuating. If you're looking to buy a car right now, you'll get a full $7,500 tax credit, but it won't come until you file your taxes next year. Next year, January 1st, the rules are changing. The dollar amount will go down for Tesla and probably for some of the others, but it will be a rebate at the point of sale. So instead of buying a $40,000 car, you would be buying a $36,000 car instead of waiting to get your tax reimbursement when you file your taxes in April of 2025 for a car that you bought in January of 2024. So different situations may make more sense for more people, but on the subject of cars, I'm proud of Jimmy Gomez, Congress member from Los Angeles, for working this one in. Tax credit for $4,000 if you buy a used EV costing up to $25,000. So if you are in the market for an older Tesla, or for a Bolt, or a Volt, or any of the other, or a Nissan Leaf, and you can't afford a new car, and you're looking at buying a used car, if the price is under $25,000, you get a $4,000 tax break. So that was done by Jimmy Gomez of Los Angeles, by the way, so thank him if you see him wandering around. Another one, by the way, is heat pumps, and I don't know exactly how a heat pump works. The best explanation I've ever heard is that there's a little gnome who runs out to your backyard and collects cold air and brings it inside and takes the hot air outside, or vice versa, depending on what you're trying to do. Because one name I want to clear up for you guys, heat pump also is an air conditioning. It's apparently far more energy efficient to have that little gnome going back and forth than whatever the hell your air conditioning currently works. And so heat pumps, they're still working out the Treasury guidance on that one again. The way that you will know that the Treasury guidance is done and you'll be getting an up to an $8,000 tax break for a heat pump is when you can't walk into Home Depot without 5 people trying to shove brochures down your throat. Just like happens right now when you walk into Home Depot for the solar panels. All of these are what I like to think of as, let's say you have a rich uncle, and his name is Sam. And Uncle Sam wants to help you with your home improvements, and Uncle Sam will be giving away some money for the next 10 years. Why 10 years? Because the Inflation Reduction Act was passed through budget reconciliation with 51 votes instead of 60 votes. And that means that it's only going to be in effect for 10 years. Uncle Sam and his three sons, your cousins, Biff, Chip, and Ira, remember those guys? They want to help you, and they will give you matching funds to help you with your home improvement projects. Now, you might not be in the market to fix your HVAC unit, your water heater, or to buy a new car this year. But I want you to remember Uncle Sam and his cousins, your friendly Bank of Uncle Sam. The next time that your car breaks down, the next time that your water heater breaks down, and mine broke down on a Christmas day. You want to hear about nightmares and having to just get the first thing that's offered to you? The next time that you have a chance to make a choice about what kind of appliances you want in your home, I hope that you will remember to go to energy.gov or cleanenergy.gov, see what kind of tax breaks are available to you. And some of these are for more energy efficient windows, and if the new heat pump and the solar panels and the car are screwing up your electric panel, there's money in there for you to get some upgrades for your electric panel, so that your electricity won't all be exploding at the same time. And all of this is thanks to your friendly Uncle Sam and Joe Biden. So if people, I'm gonna get to your question. If people wanna ask, what has Joe Biden done? And you wanna tell them the Inflation Reduction Act, and people say, what's in it? I hope that you can now answer that question. And at this point, I wanna take a back seat to a far more important person than me. Welcome, Congressmember Barbara Lee.
Yeah, I was about to say, hey, I just got notice that Barbara Lee was on her way, and the notice was actually true.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. Oh, thank you.
You're wearing purple.
Thank you very much. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Just stop by to, hey, how you doing, Howard? To say thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for what you're doing to make sure that our senior citizens have the quality of life that they so deserve. You know, my aunt, her birthday is Monday. She'll be 103 years old. Oh. Okay? And I am her primary caregiver, even though she lives in assisted living. But I tell you, she was fortunate and blessed because she and my uncle did okay. And so she's able to afford assisted living, but long-term care. But we have to make sure that everyone can afford long-term care and that the benefits and the length of time and the premiums don't go up where it becomes excessive, where seniors cannot afford long-term care. But that's a big issue. I know personally how important that is. Secondly, the Social Security Enhancement Expansion Act. We've got to do that because we have to lift the cap for those making $350,000 and over. It does not make any sense that the trust fund could be vulnerable. This ensures that we have the trust fund for 75 years. And so let's lift the cap. That's a big issue that I want to take into the Senate and fight for our seniors, because that is so important. And when you have half of the, I wanted to read this, half of the single adults on our streets are over the age of 50. You can't live in dignity when you're trying to survive off of $14,000 a year. And so all of the work that, that I'm doing in terms of trying to make sure we preserve Social Security and Medicare, we need to add medications to the ceiling, the $35 ceiling now for some medications for seniors, especially for insulin and those with diabetes, but we need the whole complement of drugs for senior citizens to be no more than $35 a month. And finally, I'll just say dental and vision and hearing.
Yep.
I want to work with Bernie Sanders, and I hope you support me for the United States Senate, because I want to work with Bernie to make sure we do include hearing, dental, and vision in for Medicare recipients. That is, to me, is just so important. I can't understand why not, because we have the investments in this country to make in our senior citizens. When you look at the fact that millionaires and billionaires aren't paying their fair share of taxes, it's like, come on. I'm working with Bernie now on our Oligarch Act that will ensure that millionaires and billionaires pay their fair share, because it does not make any sense that we cannot afford, they say, to invest in our senior citizens for dental, hearing, and vision care. So thank you all again very much for inviting me. Really glad to see you, and look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much for coming. And I want to say that when you mentioned hearing, it reminded me that I had forgotten to put my hearing aids
Well,
on.
you doing well. Okay.
Now I can hear what everyone's saying.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you
again
all
for
very
coming
much.
by.
Should I keep on going, or I'm close to wrapping up, but this is generally the point where I would start to take questions, and I know that there is at least one question.
So, questioner?
Yes.
Is there a way we can work on legislation? I'm a representative for Congressman Mike Levin from the 49th District, which is North San Diego County. And we have elderly people who are living in mobile home parks who are being bullied by mobile home park owners, not only to sell the property that they're sitting on, but they're raising the land leases so high, and they're also penalizing them because they can't afford to do the maintenance and improvements to their mobile homes. And so they're losing everything. But they're building multi-million-dollar, high-income retirement homes and retirement communities. And I think that there should be a policy at the state level, at the county level, that says if you home and you are less than 60% occupied for 3 years, you must take all of those unoccupied units, reduce them to low income, and take the senior citizens who are on the street or housing adverse, and you must admit them at an affordable low income level or lose all tax write-offs. We need a policy that says if you're claiming to build housing, that housing must include the lowest income senior citizens and disabled. And if we, as the senior caucus, I'm 50, believe it or not, my mother is 73, if we can take care of our elderly and incentivize our youth to go into geriatric and elderly care, whether it's being a personal assistant, whether it's helping them to understand the internet, and incentivize the young people to understand why our senior citizens need them, we can help the young who are feeling lost and the seniors who are feeling forgotten simultaneously. But we as a caucus, I believe, need to pull it together a little bit. I think Social Security is very important because you have a lot of young people who are having mental health issues because they're coming out of foster care with nobody and nothing to explain the world to them, explain taxation to them. And if we can bring the elderly together to teach and help each other, we can solve multiple problems.
Sounds like a great idea for policy. If I up to the next senator candidate.
Yeah, we have another pop-in that we were expecting. So the notice that we got that he was on his way, oh, that's 2 trues in a row. So, Adam. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you doing today? Outstanding. Well, thank you for inviting me to talk with you. I'm Adam Schiff, as many of you know, and this is my wife, Eve. We are Adam and Eve. It's a pleasure to have a chance to address you. In my service in office, I'm proud to have taken on some of the most important fights to defend our democracy at a time when it has been gravely at risk. Against a corrupt president who sought to remain in power after losing a free and fair election. I investigated him for his misconduct. I impeached him. I served on the January 6th committee to expose his efforts to overturn that election so that there would be justice. But I've also been very proud of my work delivering for the people of California. It's not enough to take on even the big fights if you don't deliver for people. And I'm enormously proud of having delivered for Californians, bringing millions of dollars back to find housing and shelter for people who are homeless, bringing back resources for mental health, staunchly fighting to protect Social Security and Medicare, and provide long-term care. My father is 95. He has been in and out of hospitals and rehabs for much of the last 2 years. And I see how important his care is, and frankly, I see also what a difficult patient he is. I have nothing but the most incredible admiration for those that are charged with caring for him. But I want to make sure that everyone has a dignified retirement, that everyone not only can retire in dignity, but can have access to health care that they need. This is my commitment, and as I mentioned, my dad is not an easy person now, but he also has great political advice, I will tell you. He asked me a couple months ago what I thought of Kevin McCarthy, and I said, well, Dad, I don't think too highly of the guy. I think he's a bad egg. I try to use a little vernacular of the day, and his response was, well then, as my grandmother used to say, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on camera, as my grandmother used to say, fuck him. To which I said, Dad, I don't think that's what grandmother used to say. And his response was, no, but it was strongly implied. I'm very proud to have taken on these challenges and having delivered for people in California. Delivered mass transit, have delivered an early earthquake warning system, got my legislation passed to protect press freedom, to attack nuclear proliferation. And it's a record of not only taking on the big fights, but also delivering for people that has earned me the support of Nancy Pelosi and now 60% of the California House Democrats. Almost all the House Democrats who've made an endorsement have endorsed my campaign. And it's because I have a record of delivering. You can't get anything done in Congress by yourself. You need to be able to work with others to get things done. And I want to go to the Senate and work with my colleagues in the House, work with stakeholders all over the state of California to deliver for people. And finally, I want to end with an interaction I had on Labor Day that to me spoke volumes about the challenges we face. When I was a kid, my father was in the clothing business. He was a traveling salesman. He made $18,000 a year. And on the strength of that single income, my parents were able to buy our first home for $18,000. And you can see how much the economy has changed and how it's simply not working for so many people. So many young people saddled with debt, so many older people wondering if they can retire at all and if they can retire in dignity. And on Labor Day, I was at a pancake breakfast in Wilmington, California. And it was hosted by the Longshoremen, and there was a gentleman in a retiree t-shirt. And I asked him, how are you doing? Because that's a very physical job. And I was curious, how was he doing in his retirement? And he said, because of this union, I have a good retirement. Because of this union, my wife and I retired in dignity. This union did that for us. When I was a longshoreman, he said, I didn't go to the doctor unless I was bleeding. Now that I'm a retiree, I go all the damn time. But because of this union, I've got good health care. And when he said it, I realized not only what a powerful affirmation it was for labor's ability collectively to bargain for better for the people it represents, but also how many millions of other people, both in labor and more particularly outside of labor, don't have those things, don't have a secure retirement, don't have access to quality health care. And in a country as prosperous as this one, there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. I want to go to the Senate. I want to fight to do away with the filibuster. I want to continue the work that President Biden has done, and he's been one of the most productive presidents in modern history. And I want to make sure that we provide for the generation that made my life and my prosperity possible. And I want that for my kids as well. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to come in and say hello, and I would be really honored to have your support today. Thank you very much.
Okay, do you have more? I asked, and I'll give you a little insider information. Our main meeting discussion item was going to be seniors and technology. I got a call from the person doing it last night saying she didn't really feel prepared enough. So I asked RL to stretch, and she had no trouble doing that.
Can I say something to you?
Later. You know.
Why is that discrimination? They are the candidate, I'm the candidate. Why later?
Okay.
You have given, I have
All
been
right.
sitting
Okay,
here.
you've got 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good morning. I'm the senior. I'm clinical neuropsychologist. I came to this country 30 years ago from India with my doctorate degree. When I came here, my doctorate degree was not recognized. My wife has to work in Jack in the Box. I have to work as a caregiver in San Francisco. And that's where I started my journey in this country. And now God is good to me. I own a lot of nursing home and assisted living facilities because my parents needed help. So that was the motivation that I should start my own business so that I could get, in India we say, you do good deeds and then you get money paid for those deeds too. So I know the senior, how they are suffering. I'm working with this young lady. Her father died 2 years ago. Her mother fell apart after her father died because she was a housewife. She started having emotional problems. She fell down, broke her shoulder, broke her hip. She went to the hospital. Kaiser stopped paying her payment for her health care. Kaiser told her apply for Medicare. She applied for Medicare. Medical said, oh, we have to recover because your mother owns a house where she lives. She's a 24-year UC Davis graduate student. And the county says, we have to take away your house. We have to evict you because we have to get paid for the money we're spending on your mom. And indirectly, we're making people homeless. Our system is so cruel. And all these politicians who came before you, they have been in the system for 50 plus years. What the hell they have done? I don't need to work. I didn't come here early in the morning. I work in the Department of Correction and Rehabilitation in Stockton Prison. After I sold my properties during COVID, I started as a consulting psychologist with the prison system. The money we're spending in the prison, every $1 million we spend in the prison, we could take care of those patients for $200,000 in the community. And everybody will benefit from that. We need to really look into that, what our politicians are doing, how we unconsciously making the policies. 15 years ago, I was running 10 boarding care home for chronically mentally disabled in Contra Costa County and Fresno County and Sacramento County. 10. Our pro tem speaker, Mr. Darrell Steinberg, he started sending all the labor inspector to our facilities, saying that we make too much money, we make it $30 per day for 24-hour care. And he said you have to pay the staff for 24-hour care. At that time, $10 an hour was the minimum wage. $240 per day. That's only for the wages. 1,300 homes got shut down. All those people became homeless. We see on our streets right now. Don't blindly support these Democrats, those who don't give a damn to your family. Don't blindly support these Democrats, those who don't have any sympathy, any compassion for your loved ones. Take care of all community members. When you say free money, a friend was saying free money, there is nothing free. They are lying to you. They are robbing all of us. Nothing free in America. I have seen it. So please be careful who you choose, who you select. Be careful. That's only 2 cents I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, speaking of pop-ins, we have Fiona Ma is here. And we're running long, and they have a $500 fine if we go late, which cancels out the money we made from not having a monitor. So just
I'll be short. I'll be short. I will be short. Thank you. Yeah, Fiona Ma, California State Treasurer. I am the banker, so I take in all of the revenues. Last year was $3.7 trillion. I manage a short-term portfolio of about $200 billion, and I issue all the bonds for the state of California, the UC, and the CSU system. So that's about $90 billion. I also fund and finance affordable housing, schools, hospitals, children's hospitals, emergency crisis beds, clean energy, advanced manufacturing, and I have 5 savings programs. I also issue all the bonds for the CalVet, for their home loan program. So if there are any veterans, we do have money back in that program. And if any of you have any grandkids, we do have a program called CalKids, where every 1st through 12th grader on free and reduced lunch can get $500 into that child's savings account. If they're a foster youth, another $500, and if they're homeless, another $500. So this is, free money or taxpayer money from the government that is trying to lift our children out of poverty. And I also live with my dad, who's 89 years old. And so I've been very active with all of the master plan for aging, bills, and we just need to do more if we're gonna keep our folks at home. I'm a senior as well, 57, AARP. I'd like to stay home as I get older, and we need to make sure that the care we get at home is affordable, accessible, and it's of quality. So thank you all for everything you do.
Oh, we don't have time for anything. Okay, let's do something really quick while the monitor is still working, and that is to reapprove the agenda. It's been modified dramatically, so I don't even know how to go about it. Does anyone object to us modifying the agenda that we've already modified and really have no choice?
Oh, I want to object, and let's talk about this for an hour and a half.
You think because you're a DNC member that you can tell us what to do? Okay. All right, next on the agenda, and please don't leave because we have something that we need you to vote on now that we have a monitor. The next person up is Juan Correa, Assemblyman Juan Correa. So, and you'll tell us what you're going to talk about. And once he's done, then we need to go through the bylaws, and it'll be very quick. So
thank you, Mike. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'll be brief. We heard the Senate candidates, Adam Schiff and Barbara Lee, talk about the importance of having the resources that seniors need at the federal level. I'm here to talk to you about a bill that I introduced that is going to address the needs of the seniors. But first, let me tell you about me. I'm Assembly Member Juan Carrillo, I represent Assembly District 39, and that's the high desert, LA County and Sacramento County, just north of Assembly Member, what's her name? Assembly Pilar Chiavo. We work together in the assembly, but anyway, I'm gonna be very brief. I'll tell you about me a little bit and then why AB 1536 is very personal to me. I came to this country when I was 15 years old from Guadalajara. I worked undocumented for about 4 or 5 years. I paid my taxes through income taxes, and I was not able to get anything back because I did not have a social security number to be able to get something back from what I paid. This bill, AB 1536, will allow seniors over 65 years old who are undocumented because of no fault of their own. There's still no immigration reform for them. They've worked here for 15, 30 years, maybe some have worked here for 40 years, paying their income taxes and not being able to receive anything. AB 1536 would have given them a little bit back so that they could live with dignity. We would include them into a program that is called CAPI, Cash Assistance Program for Immigrants. It's an existing program. We were successful this last session. We put it on the governor's desk, but the governor vetoed the bill. It was gonna cost about $50 million a year to be able to provide that assistance for seniors who needed to have some dignity. You will know what it's like to be a senior. You will know what the resources that you need. But there is a small population that we don't talk about, and those are the undocumented seniors, again, that have worked here for decades and have been able to get anything back. And we see them on the streets. We see them selling ice cream. We see them doing all kinds of hard work, and they did hard work to get where they are. They work in the hospitality industry. They work in construction. They work in the fields. And this bill, again, I'm gonna reintroduce it this time around. And that's one of the reasons I'm here to get your support, because we need to also make sure that all seniors are able to get something back from what they invested in the largest economy, the fourth largest economy in the world, the state of California. That resonates with me directly, again, because I did that. I came here at the age of 15 in search of a better life, in search of the American dream, and I'm proud to say that I achieved it. It's still there, it's still available, but it's getting harder and harder every day. And those that have worked so hard to provide millions of dollars to the economy of the state of California, I believe that that's something that we can give back a little bit to them. You know the struggles, you know what it's like, and after other resources that you need, this will just give them just a little bit of what they've given to the state. Again, if there's any questions, I'll be outside for a little bit. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I know we're running out of time. I'm also running, but not from the law.
Really?
I'm running for re-election. Thank you.
Oh, God. Just as when we needed it, it seems to have died. Okay.
There, you're back.
I don't know what to do. Okay, nobody breathe. We can watch Logan's run if we want to. Let me find this. And what this is it's the bylaws, and it's what we need to vote on. And really, before anything else, I can tell you, we have no choice. So this is really just a formality. But I'm required to go over some of the changes and for you to vote aye. So that's just sadly the way it is. We'd rather it wasn't. So let me find it here. I normally would turn them on. Oh, come on. I need to do it quickly.
It's a cable.
Jimmy must be on you now.
Mike, can you maybe tell people about the changes as you're trying to get them up on screen?
That's, well, I can't, I'm old, I can't multitask that well.
Can you get somebody else who's worked on it?
Here we go, it's up on the screen. So hopefully it will stay up on the screen. So I'm gonna scroll through it and quickly go over what some of the changes are. Now, the definition of a change is simply, it was in our original submission. We actually ratified something months ago, and they didn't like some of it because most of the problems were punctuation, but you'll see what I mean. So here we go, and let's hope that it doesn't disappear from the screen. I guess the best way to do it is here. All right, and the table of contents here will show you just how much stuff is in there. It's 32 pages long. So on the first page, we were required to put what our purpose is. And we had put to provide a strong voice and representation within the party, et cetera, et cetera. We were told that's not acceptable. Here is your purpose. So there it is. Here, it should be underlined actually, but it's not, so maybe they'll reject it for that. Do I sound cynical? Okay. And we also had that we wanted to encourage participation within the caucus's community of interest, that's us, and with outreach programs, et cetera, et cetera. They asked us, ask is a friendly way to say it, to remove it. So we did that. And let's see what B was. Yeah, we had copied, this looked wrong to us, where it says B at the close of credentialing. Please stay so we don't lose a quorum, and now the picture has gone away. There we go. Okay. Come on.
It goes in and out.
Just continue telling us when to change something.
Okay. Well, I need to go through faster while we still have this thing. So this was kind of a minor technicality, I'll say, about how we had to do minutes, I think it was. I don't even remember. Let's see. Why does it keep going out? We've only got another 30 pages to go. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not going to go over there.
Okay. Oh, this was an interesting one. They said that in case of, the way they gave it to us is in the case of more than, or yeah, less than two people running for the same office, that we then had to have a re-vote, you know, if neither got more than 50%. Well, the key word there was less than. Why would you have to have a re-vote if you had less than two? You would have to have a re-vote if you had more than two. So I changed that, and they had to change it back. So, okay, I don't know. So here we'll go. We had some dues that we wanted to do. We did to do, well, anyway, here are the dues. And I had put them in the wrong place, so those got moved somewhere else. But those are our dues, and just incidentally, we still will have the $10 dues next year, but we're calling that standard, and we're hoping that people will do sustaining so that we can actually afford these meetings. Damn it. Oh, okay, well, all right, and we're adding lifetime dues. That's why it's underlined, by the way. And they didn't like the way I had done the lifetime dues down here, so it just simply was to make it, you know, they just wanted it listed without the details. Okay. And we had 2-year memberships. Did any of you get a 2-year membership in the first 2 or 3 months of 2023?
Yeah, I could remember.
Yeah. What we'd like you to do is apply for a waiver for next year so that we don't have to charge you. But they're very firm about that the dues are January 1st to December 31st. And incidentally, don't rejoin until January 1st of 2024 because that's how strict they are on it. So if you joined on Christmas, for instance, because you gave your loved ones a membership to the Senior Caucus, and what better gift would there be? It would expire New Year's Eve. So hold off, and then we'll take it from there on January 1st, and you'll be good until December 31st of next year. Let's see. What is it doing? Oh, it wants to zoom? Oh, I don't want to zoom it. Okay, let's see. It's not scrolling. I think it froze. So, oh no, it didn't. Okay, here we go. It gets better. I mean, it gets to where there's less changes. This was a very recent change. where we had put that the principal vice chair, which is a new position, it's not a new position. One of the 3 vice chairs becomes the principal vice chairs, and they're required to be DSCC members. And they didn't like the wording, so we changed it from is one to will one. In other words, it was a mistake in using the wrong word. And instead of saying, oh, you need to change is to will, we'll do it for you by typing WILL in your Word document, instead they sent it and said, you need to do this. And that was the only thing at the time that they didn't like, by the way. So they could have approved it at that point and then just told us, okay, I'm sounding bitter about this, and maybe I should stop before I get myself in trouble. Yeah, a little bit of detail here. This saying the secretary must be a DSCC member, which will be new next year, or the next term. But our secretary is a DSCC member, so I guess it doesn't matter. And yeah, they want the officers basically to be DSCC members, and absolutely require the chair to be a DSCC member and at least one of the vice chairs. And that's very boring, I know, and I apologize for that. So we're going to scroll through as quickly as possible, because I don't think there are a lot of changes from here on out, except I don't even know why this change was made. F here was replaced, which is, we could it had to do with standing committees, and it says we could suspend a standing committee if we needed to. Talk about boring. And incidentally, we probably will be forming some, ad hoc committees. The trouble is speaking of bitterness, we've been working on the damn bylaws for almost a year and not had the opportunity to do things like create ad hoc committees. Yeah, here we had a communications officer described, and they said it's in the wrong place. We also added a chair emeritus, who our chair emeritus actually is back here. And why don't you stand up? Yeah, and we gave her a little ceremony and a gavel, and we had to, but it had to be in the bylaws before we could do it. Strange. Okay. We'll just scroll through here. So far, so good. I think we're about to hit something. Yes, this defines the regions, which was, come on. Which was, if it comes up, our regions are by county, and they said it was they said we needed it in 2 places at once in the bylaws. One to describe regions and one to describe what regions the various vice chairs do, and it's like, I would have thought one was enough. Okay, we're coming on. I'm going to skip over some of these that I don't even understand, because we need to get this done. That might be it. So we'll keep. There's going to be another yellow one there. The 2 yellow ones. Here it is. Yeah, this is the one I was talking about earlier. I had changed it because it didn't make sense to me. Officer elections, which ballots are cast for less than 2 is what they wanted. In any case, they gave us whole new language to put in there. So, and that was the last change I made, and that was about 6 weeks ago. And we haven't heard anything about it, which makes us wonder what's going to happen on Sunday when they start talking about which caucuses got recertified and which got conditionally recertified, because we've met everything, and but they haven't told us we have. So that is
Move
it.
to approve.
Mr. Chair,
Okay, we are in fact at the point of approving it. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, don't forget, I have the ability to have forced wrath upon you. Those opposed, say nay. All right, okay. Oh wait, we have a nay here.
No, that wasn't a name. I have a question. Can this version be available to the membership so that we can?
Not only is it available to the membership, but it's been in the last 4 meeting announcements. Because as an announcement, saying this is one of the things we're going to talk about. So that's that. Let's see. We do not have essential technology for seniors.
There's another hand raised.
Oh, there's a hand raised? Yeah.
Yes, I just have a quick question. If you become a lifetime member, let's say I decide to sign my mother and myself up to become lifetime members at $500, you're saying that the cost and the expense of the room and to do live events is very expensive. If people become lifetime members, you're not getting annual income, how do you expect to do live memberships unless you're going to increase the costs?
Well, we don't expect there to be too many people wanting to join $500, so I don't think it's a problem. The other thing is there is nothing that says, we cannot take donations.
Oh.
That has always been true. The caucuses can't take donations, but there's nothing to stop anyone from joining more than once in a year. Yeah, so that's kind of a workaround.
So Mike, so $500.
Well, $250 for a lifetime membership. So if I bought myself a lifetime membership and bought my mother a lifetime membership at $250,
Yeah, I
that's
understand.
$500.
Yeah, but understand, also, since our standard dues are $10, you're paying 25 years in advance, or 500, or 50 years in advance.
But how does that help you financially?
It really doesn't help us financially, but it doesn't hurt us significantly
Yeah,
either.
and we're going to work at reducing the costs. I think this is the last.
No, I think that we should increase the cost, because if you can't afford to.
No, I'm saying, I think this shall be our last $3,000 meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike.
But
Well,
thank
it's
you.
kind of like an insurance question, how long is the person going to live?
And we are the senior caucus, I hate to say.
That's what I'm saying. That would make 25 more people.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Very, very good, interesting and good point. That really comes to the end of our agenda with one exception. Oh, go ahead.
Just that if the Children's Caucus could have 2 minutes, we would.
They've what?
If the Children's Caucus could have 2 minutes, then I would ask to be added to your.
Let's see what time. Oh yeah, we've got time. But I did want to say that we asked Nancy Pelosi to join us, and she didn't answer for the longest time until this week, at which point she sent a video. I'd like to show the video as our last thing to do. The only trouble is that. So, but we'll try, and if we can't, we'll put it on YouTube and send you all the link to it.
Mike, can I quickly give my contact info?
Sure.
Okay. I was intending to do that and just got sidetracked there. No worries.
Yeah, it's got to be here, because when I tap on the computer and stuff, but I've jiggled everything that could be jiggled in public, and it doesn't work.
Okay. Folks, I just want to thank you all for listening to me earlier, and I just want to conclude by saying, if you want to find me, it's RLM at Climate Hawks Vote, HAWKS as in the birds, vote.com. I can be on Twitter. I'm on Facebook as RL_Miller. I'm on Facebook if you must. I'm active in the California Dem Party Delegates group. And again, I'd love to talk to any of your county committees about the Inflation Reduction Act because number one, you can tell I'm evangelical about it, and number two, I want to give you the tools that you can use to help convince your neighbors and friends when you go out canvassing that Joe Biden has accomplished things and give you some ability to back it up. I will be giving Mike the links that I mentioned, the invest.gov and the cleanenergy.gov. I will be giving him those links so that he can email that out to you in his next caucus newsletter. And thank you all very much.
And she speaker. Yes. She came to our club. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Can the children's caucus
Yeah.
last for 2 minutes? Can the children's
Yeah.
caucus speak?
Come on up.
Rise and speak, please.
If we lose our quorum now, we won't be able to adjourn. Yeah, go ahead. We have a hand up in question.
Oh, no. Oh, thanks, Ruth. Thank you, Ann Crosby from 8077.
One of your members, Mr. White.
Good job. So people are wondering why somebody from the Children's Caucus would come to the Seniors Caucus. One, because seniors care about children, and two, because seniors vote. Can you think of a better reason to be here than those two?
I can.
What?
If we take the seniors and we take the children, they average out to regular middle-aged people.
There you go.
I just want to mention my senior center, when we say hi to the kids from Head Start, we say they're future seniors, because all you have to do is keep on inhaling and exhaling, and you're going to become a
And
senior.
you're lucky you get to the Seniors Caucus, right? My name's Ann Crosby. I'm representing the California Democratic Party's Children's Caucus to warn you of an active threat, not only to our children, but to the Democratic majority that we currently enjoy in California. Prior to Trump, the CDP did not focus on down-ballot races. School board races were considered to be nonpartisan, with the GOP and MAGA extremists working through our schools. To retake California, all races are now partisan. The chair of the California Republican Party has said that he would like to work with groups like extremist groups, hate groups like Moms for Liberty, to target school board races as potential entry points to future up-ticket elections. They are inciting violent, racist, deplorable attacks on our school system. With inaction, we forfeit our civil rights, privacy, autonomy, our liberty. By gaining an unprotected, nonpartisan offices, they secure the incumbent's advantage and electoral strength. We are sounding the alarm. We need to protect our children, our future, by not ignoring this threat. We're asking you to work with your local Democratic clubs and central committees to identify candidates for school board who stand for good governance and our democratic values. It is vital that we engage in this battle now. These races leave us vulnerable to the new GOP agenda. We are asking you to train, mentor, endorse, support, resource, and uplift Democratic school board candidates. The CADEM Children's Caucus is ready to help. We will gladly speak to any Dem organization to present the particulars of this real threat. I have some cards, I'll leave them here, and Michael knows how to get hold of me, so please reach out. I will come to your group anywhere in the state. On January 20th, CADEM's Children's Caucus will be offering our third online school board candidate training. I'm holding the trainings. I have been a school board trustee and a community college trustee and chair of the California Democratic Party's Children's Caucus. I'm serving as Southern California Vice Chair right now. And every Democrat is welcome to these trainings. Even if you're not running for school board, you will learn about running for office. You'll learn about what it takes to be a school board trustee. There's a lot of really good information. A lot of people who run for school board lose their first election because they know a lot about schools, but they don't know anything about running for office. So we're helping them gain that. You can find our details at cademchildrenscaucus.org. We're on social media. Like I said, Mike can help you with that. We need your attention on these down ballot races. Thank you for your time and your attention, for your children, for our future. We will pay now, or we will pay much more later. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone that has a quick announcement? Oh, there's another one. Go ahead.
Should I come up front?
Yeah, sure. It's too late to do anything. It looks like just too late.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see everybody in person. My name is Ruth Carter. I was the chair, and now I'm chair emerita of the Senior Caucus. And I want you to know that we are still fighting challenges to Medicare, along with others to Social Security. I've become a member of a group called the Movement to End Privatization of Medicare. And we are working really hard to get the word out about the amount of money that is wasted in terms of healthcare, not going into healthcare, but going into the pockets of insurance companies and Wall Street firms. So, things are disappearing over here. I want you to know that it is crucial that you stay as informed as possible about these dangers. Medicare will not be around for long unless we stop the privatization of Medicare. If anybody's interested in working with me on this, we have a group that's California-wide, and it is, I can't tell you how, having just had surgery and having had nothing to pay because I'm on Medicare and I have a good Medicare supplement, it is...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hospitalization. Okay, so it is so challenging, and I think it is important that we stay aware. The Physicians for a National Health Program just did a study, and they said between $80 and $140 billion a year goes down the drain in terms of healthcare. So please stay involved, stay present, and if you're interested in working with me, I'd be very happy to have you. Thank you.
Any other quick announcements while I try to get Nancy Pelosi up on the screen, as they said?
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead. Make sure that you keep it clean.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
My name is Dr. Timothy Bilash. I'm an OBGYN. In 2017, in the Carmel Valley Democratic Club, we had a health committee. And we produced a report to support SB 562 that the nurses had pushed. They had economic reports done out at University of Massachusetts. It's at casinglepayerinfo.com. Now it's 8 years old, but SB 770 passed, and so that's for under 65. But I just wanted to echo this issue of Scripps Hospital just lost Advantage. And we tried to warn the Democratic Party then. The only person who was running for office at that time gave us the time of day about this report was Sarah Jacobs. So the unions didn't want to talk, the Democratic Party didn't want to talk. 770 is a good step to start to get a single payer, and I advocate to consider a sales tax. So thank you for letting me know that.
Okay, I've made a command decision, is that the right word? An executive decision not to show the Pelosi video because it's just too flaky. The video, I mean, her speech was...
You just try. Just give it a try.
Oh no, but the other thing is that Katie Porter is going to be here in less than a minute. So there's no point in starting it either. So... Okay, a minute, 90 seconds.
We want to see it. We really want to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Make an announcement.
Yeah, this is Mike Bullock, a good friend of mine from the San Diego County Democratic Party.
Yeah, I'm a senior, obviously, and I'm a climate voter. And I think it's great that RL is here to talk about that. But my announcement is something that's going on in our city councils and our metropolitan planning organizations like SANDAG. They are ignoring the official California plan to achieve our official California climate mandates. Now let me submit one thing about climate and seniors. It affects us disproportionately when there's a heat wave. You know, you look at the people that die when there's a heat wave, they tend to be older people. And so on and so forth. And you know, what we're facing with climate change is destabilization, and a lot of bad things are going to happen. So we have to focus as Democrats, as seniors, on the fact that we have a 2030 climate mandate in the state of California. And we have an official plan. Who did the plan? The California Air Resources Board. So it's called the scoping plan. It's a terrible name for what it is, I suppose, but the CARB, California Air Resources Board scoping plan, is the official plan, and it is a profound plan. CARB actually did the job. One thing they determined is we are not going to be able to electrify our cars fast enough, and we're going to have to reduce driving. VMT, vehicle miles traveled, will have to be reduced 25% with respect to the level at 2019, in 2019. And that has to be done by 2030. I said it's 2030 climate mandate, everything's 2030. There's also, we need to have, they call it price parking. I think we should call it managed parking, and to be a little more politically astute there. And we also need a road use charge to replace the gas tax. The gas tax is going away because we're driving cars that get better and better mileage. We're electrifying our fleet. They don't pay a gas tax. I drove here in a Tesla. I didn't pay any gas tax. Do I look like I need a big subsidy? Gas tax is a very regressive sort of a tax. You know, you can be a destitute driver. You pay the same per gallon as a billionaire driver. The gas tax was a great idea because wealthy people drove cars in 1918 when Oregon invented the gas tax. We need to replace the California gas tax with a means-based road use charge. But all of that is in the official plan. And who's ignoring that? Our cities, when they do their climate action plans. Our SANDAGs, you know, the metropolitan planning organizations that do transportation. This is all about transportation. Cars emit over 50% of the greenhouse gas emissions. So anyway, that's an announcement that please be active in your city council, your climate action plan, because climate is an issue for seniors. Yes?
I just wanted to mention in my area, there's a big pushback on the charging for parking around metro areas.
Yes.
To take the metro. Now people are going to have to pay to park in order to
let me say something about let me say something about that if I could.
Katie is coming.
No, when she comes, I'm out of here.
Okay.
but when you pay for parking, the money should go to the people who are losing money because the parking's there. That would be the people that ride the metro. In other words, you have parking at the metro. Who is that parking for? It's for the people that ride the metro. Wait a minute, what if I walk to the metro? What if I bicycle to the metro? No, it should be operated for the financial gain of the people that ride the metro. So yes, you should charge for parking, but that money should be taken off the fare or should be put into the account of the people that ride it. So they can make that choice. Do they want to get up a little earlier and bike, or do they want to go ahead and drive? They want to be their own customer, and anybody then can use that parking. Anybody can use the parking.
Not everybody can bike, so.
No, not everybody can bike, but somebody might want to try it.
Okay.
And I see Katie's here, so I'm out of here. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, I've seen you many times.
Thank you for coming.
Of course, I came as fast as I could.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Katie Porter, and I'm delighted to be here talking with you. I represent Orange County, California, and I'm running to be your next senator. I'm going to cut to the chase. Big corporate cash is drowning out your voices in Washington. And when big corporations control the conversation, then what we see is inaction on the issues that are most important to Californians. We see this over and over again with issues like expanding Medicare to cover dental, vision, and hearing, with Medicare Advantage plans that skim $100 billion from taxpayers and strip us of the funds that we need to invest in traditional Medicare and make it stronger for every single senior. Well, I have never been for sale. I'm the only candidate in this race who has never taken corporate PAC money. And that's not a decision I made because I'm running for the Senate. Some of you know me from 2018, my very first race. That is core to who I am, because I am 100% focused on what Californians need. That's also why I don't take federal lobbyist contributions, because I cannot be bought off by Big Pharma to continue to line their pockets while seniors are cutting pills in half and going without life-saving prescriptions. We have a big shortage of senior housing in this state, and that needs to be at the top of Washington, D.C.'s priority list. I encourage everyone today, as you listen to candidates, don't accept that they'll protect Medicare and Social Security. Push them to promise to expand it and to actually get it done. When I was in Washington, I've been there under Democratic control. In the last 5 years, I've been there when Democrats controlled the House and the Senate and the presidency, and when Republicans controlled. And you know what was true in both Congresses? We did not pass the Social Security Act 2100 to fully fix Social Security funding. That's why we have to elect people who are willing to shake up the status quo, because the status quo is leaving seniors and so many Californians of all ages behind. The last thing I want to say to you is I know how to win tough fights. I have won 3 tough races in Republican-leaning districts, and we are choosing not just a policy leader to deliver what we need in our lives, we are also choosing a political leader who can help us win in every part and pocket of this state, help us win down ballot, so that we can have the representation that we deserve, and most importantly, the policies we need. I'd be honored to have your endorsement in this Senate race, and I thank you very, very much for letting me speak. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, on that note, I want to wrap up by saying I'm sorry that we had to really do the agenda damage, but I think it was a good meeting in spite of that. And I look forward to many more returns or many more meetings like this coming up. Hopefully once we get more practice, it'll go a little more smoothly. We are over time, and there is a fine. So please don't tell us. So good night, well, not good day, and see you at the general session.